Today on the 5-minute book review, we take a history lesson from World Wrestling Entertainment. This right here is a brand new paperback called The Unauthorized History of Degeneration X. For those of you who didn't watch the WWF back in 1997, I'll quickly set the stage. The world champion during all of 1996 was a headache called Shawn Michaels. Shawn was supposed to be a good guy, but, and this isn't rumor, this is well documented, in real life when the cameras weren't rolling, he was one of the most unlikable human beings on the planet. The following year, a real-life feud, again, well documented, between Shawn and Canadian wrestler Bret Hart forced the WWF to choose between the two of them. They chose Shawn and let Bret go to the competition, and how did Shawn repay them? Knowing he couldn't get fired anymore, he went out on live TV with his buddy Triple H instead and did stuff that almost got the entire WWF product thrown off television on a regular basis. They called themselves Degeneration X. Quick coin toss to start, and Curtis is the winner. You are watching the 5-minute book review starring Curtis and Ian, and are you ready? That was so lame. We're taking a look at the brand new Unauthorized History of Degeneration X, written by Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Hunter Hearst Helmsley with probably a whole whack of other guest writers to help him fill in the blanks, because they probably don't really remember a whole lot of 1997 when they formed DX on WWE on Monday Night Raw, and back when we had Saturday Morning Superstars. What a golden time for wrestling. That really was the time that made me a fan of professional wrestling. I look back at 1997 glowingly, because really the original DX is what did it for me. It came at just a perfect time. I was, a young angry teenager, and then there was DX, and just, I'm a big fan of Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels, here's a guy so much more talented than anybody he worked with. Can you imagine? He goes on television every week knowing he cannot be disciplined. Again, he's so much more talented than any of his co-workers. He goes on TV, says whatever he wants with no discipline. Can you imagine living life like that, Ian?
Did you say anything about the book in that? Or just how much you like Shawn Michaels and wrestling in that era? This book's like a pamphlet. I guess the thing is, you can't take it seriously. It's not a serious book. It's, you look at the quotes on the back. The first one's from Triple H. The next one's from Shawn Michaels. The next one's from Triple H under his real name. And then the next one's from Shawn Michaels underneath his stage name, the Heartbreak Kid. And then there's a few, I'm assuming, made-up ones. And that's kind of the tone of the book. It's a silly, fun book. Don't get this book thinking you're getting like an in-depth analysis of the wrestling industry and these guys' careers. I guess in that way, it's more like Chris Jericho's book. It was a very fun book, very funny book, very amusing book. But as far as really telling me anything about the careers, I don't really feel like I got much. Curtis, what did you think of the book?
Well, the book, Ian, is just basically a Cole's Notes of everything they did, right? Like, it's just jot form of everything that went down in 1997. So, yeah, I guess I wasn't really talking about the book, but I was, because that's all it is. It's just, here's what they did, and they kind of reflect back, but not really, because Shawn Michaels is, a better person now than he was in 1997, so we kind of get that repeating theme where he was like, I was such a horrible person back then, but man, it was fun when we did this, and you're like, yeah, I don't feel sorry for you. They made a lot of groundbreaking TV that changed the industry, and you can't deny that. I mean, everything's a model from what they did in 1997, Ian.
Oh, no, it's definitely undeniable. I mean, they had a huge impact on it. They changed a lot of what professional wrestling was about, especially as a TV broadcast, as an entertainment broadcast. I found the book interesting. I found it enjoyable, but again, I wasn't looking for an in-depth read. I wasn't looking for an in-depth, this is what wrestling's about book. I got that from Bret Hart already, and possibly from Hulk Hogan in the future. But this book was just a lot of fun, I think, and for that reason alone, I enjoyed it.
So it's good to go back and remember the good old days.
Yeah.
When they were just like 30-year-olds trying to be degenerates. Not like you have now where they're like 50-year-olds trying to be degenerates. But yeah. DX worked so well in 1997. It was so fresh and groundbreaking. Maybe not so much when they brought it back in 2006. Maybe not so much when they brought it back in 2009. But man, in 1997, that was like the best wrestling ever got to me. You had to watch Monday Night Raw. It was live TV. You never knew what these two guys were going to do. And once they got rid of Bret Hart, like, there was no stopping him. Vince McMahon had to choose between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. He chose Shawn Michaels, and then he was just, you couldn't do anything. He came on TV, probably wasted every week, and you never knew what he was going to do. Good TV.
I mean, that's never bad TV. I mean, especially in that circumstance. I mean, they do something ridiculous, it's just there. There's no chance to edit it out. It just happens.
Yeah, I think they started doing like a 10-second delay, and again, they missed everything.
I don't
He
think that even
swore. He just, they went off. It was gold. They
Yeah.
exposed the industry. They talked about the people in the production truck. It was just, they really pulled back the layer
Well, they
of
broke
how
the fourth wall,
wrestling
right?
was. Yeah, I guess that's
Completely.
a good way of putting it and shutting me up. What do you
Indeed.
think, Ian?
Ha.
I really like this book, but again, I kind of lost interest hearing about how it happened in 2006. But going back and reliving the magic that was 1997, Shawn Michaels and Triple H, definitely worth the read. Waiting for it.
Ah.
Yeah!